This week's episode of Into the Twilight is brought to you by Superyaki. Go to superyaki.com and use the promo code SUPERFRIEND for 10% off your entire purchase, and let them know we sent you.
Now tuning in to Earbud Media. Audio for everyone.
I'm the audio engineer after all.
No.
What about this? What if God was one of us?
Oh, no. Look at you. Proud
yes!
of you. Okay. It only took nearly 200 episodes.
Oh my god.
4 years.
Yeah. It's about time you got to win.
Welcome to Into the Twilight. We have a fantastic guest with us this week.
Oh.
And it is the infamous...
You know her. You love her.
Here's the thing. I feel like this is your second time on, Abby, and I want to be like, oh yeah, y'all know her already, but
that never happened.
That is the lost episode, and so instead we will just say welcome to the space.
Yes, for the very
Thank
first
you.
time.
I have like a very short-term memory, so for all I know, this is my first time on the podcast.
Perfect.
I'm very excited to be here.
We will start off with you today, Abby. How are you doing?
I am good. I just got back from a cabin in the woods. That sounds really creepy. It's not. My extended family has a lake house, but it is by the woods.
Abby is haunted.
Yeah, I mean...
She's calling in from the great beyond.
Yeah, but we had borrowed kayaks for that trip, and I'd never done that before, and I feel like the last few months, I don't know that much about video games. Like, I love me some Animal Crossing, but the most of my knowledge is, like, Wii Sports and, like, Sims 3. But the past the past few months, like, all over my social media feeds have been, like, there's this character named Abby in that zombie video game, The Last of Us, and she is just shredded. She is so ripped, and look, I've been in the house for a long time, so my arms are not that toned, so I'm thinking if I have a few more kayak trips, I can be more like Abby from the zombie game, so that's exciting.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love to hear that, and I'm glad that you experienced some outside.
What a concept.
Yeah, I don't remember if we had this when you experienced the Lost episode, but one of the things that we do now is to try and combat our existence now. We try to bring a happy thing into the space. What is something that brings you joy this week or today?
So, like, no corporations, but I have to shout out my friends at IKEA because something...
Yes. the only corporation will stand. That's it.
I have to shout out IKEA because in January, I purchased their giant stuffed shark. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but it's called Blahage. And then in parentheses, it says soft toy. And it is just this giant shark. I'm looking up the dimensions right now. It's much larger than, like, your average small child. And I think that especially this year, but, like, any year, I think most young adults should have, like, an emotional support plushie. And
absolutely,
it's just like, I don't know why they made a giant stuffed shark this big, but he is my son, and he brings me a lot of joy.
I can't believe that you are the parent to Shark Boy.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
And I'm not even Team Jacob.
But,
this is so sad.
Right. But thank you for doing that important work.
Of course.
Yeah.
I've always walked by the IKEA children's section longing at those toys, and I've always tried to resist. So I'm glad that someone has done that work. I'm glad that someone has brought that joy into their life. Cody, how the fuck are you doing?
Why are you so aggressive to me? We just had a nice little rapport, and it's like, what the fuck is up?
Because I have to just have a balance.
It's true. I'm doing pretty okay. My little happy thing, I feel like over the last few weeks, but especially this week, is that I've been writing a lot of letters.
I've seen this on your social media.
I've heard of this. Yeah. I am
cottagecore of you.
I don't think the Postal Service exists in the cottagecore universe, but it's a fun thought experiment.
I think they use, like,
sure.
they just use, like, doves or something,
probably.
yeah.
Right, yeah. That's the lesbian form of male. It's just like doves and carrier pigeons. I feel like that's
Yeah.
that's their truth. I'm single-handedly saving the Postal Service, basically. So buying a fuck ton of stamps, and I'm writing letters on a little typewriter that I got for free on Nextdoor, and that's just been my truth.
Wow. You know what? That honestly makes so much sense because I have always imagined you as Steve from Blue's Clues, and this really makes so much sense.
Hold on, you've always imagined that?
It's just I don't know, the more angsty,
Sure.
a little bit
the
a little
e-boy.
bit rowdier. And rather than a crayon.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, typewriter instead of crayon.
Oh my god.
Version.
Yeah.
But yeah, that actually makes sense. My happy thing for this week is thinking about interpretations and adaptations of Princess Di.
Yes. Yes.
As
it is every week, really.
I agree. I've mentioned this before on the show that I do not know a lot about the royal family. That's not my truth. However, this year, the world is like, we're gonna make you care, actually. And we talked about it before with K-Stu, with her fantastic choice to do Princess Di. And now, with the fucking The Crown, and Elizabeth Debicki, it's just a fucking punch in the gut.
Yeah. Like, do I have to watch The Crown now? Just because I will watch all of it just for
Absolutely.
It is worth it.
I hear that. I don't think I believe it in my chest, but maybe
That's fair.
Yeah. I do think it's interesting. I saw someone tweet that Elizabeth is 5 inches taller than Princess Di, and K-Stu is 5 inches shorter. So it's just like the circle of life.
Yep. It's beautiful, and it makes you really happy. Elizabeth Debicki makes you really happy, honestly, and so it's one of those things where it's like, we just get so little joy right now that you just have to take it and hold on to it when you can, and that was one of those things that it really does it for me.
You know, we do so much giving and we hardly ever get to receive.
Finally.
But this feels like... this feels right.
It does. I'm so excited to hear, Abby, your Twilight story again, because when I heard it last, it was in the before times, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And I can't remember anything.
Yeah, it was
in
at
that
least
time
50
period.
years ago, so...
Yeah, I think it was before we were all born, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And so if you could do us the honor and tell us your Twilight backstory, please and thank you.
But wow, what a story. So, when the first Twilight movie came out, I was 12, which at first glance seems like the perfect age for it. And not that long after that, One Direction blew up. And then there were these two, like, huge pop culture things existing side by side that I feel like were really fueled by teenage girls, especially because of their passion for the dudes involved. And hi, I'm a lesbian, but I didn't know that was a thing in 2009, 2010. So internally I was kind of freaking out, like, why am I also not feeling things when I see, like, the Edward Cullen and Harry Styles cardboard cutouts at the mall? And I mean, like, now I would definitely have feelings seeing them, but they're, like, important cultural artifacts, you know? But,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then at 12, my internalized misogyny, she was also kind of popping off. So to kind of combat that internal panic, I kind of leaned into that in a way a lot of people were dismissing it, because, like, teenage girls were passionate about them by being like, yeah, Twilight's stupid, their relationships are kind of creepy, Bella's boring, and, like, she made a few points, but it was, like, misguided at the time. But, yeah, after a little while, I just, like, I kept I was just still curious about what the whole Twilight thing was about. Firstly, because I would see the displays at Barnes& and Noble, and, like, the red, black, and white color palette on those covers, like, it's objectively, like, it slaps. It's hot. So I was interested in that, and that's also why I felt so betrayed when the Midnight Sun cover was revealed. I know it's, like, symbolism or whatever, but they made the pomegranate is objectively the sexiest fruit, and they made it, like, ooze and, like, busted, but it's fine. I'm coming to peace with it. So there were the covers, and I also have this toxic trait. I think it's why I became an entertainment journalist. I'm so sorry. Where I love to have takes about, like, the big pop culture thing people are talking about. So eventually, when I was, like, almost 13, I gave in. I secretly got all the books, and I just tore through them in a couple weeks. My mom got, like, temporarily shunned from her Catholic school mom's bridge club for letting me read Breaking Dawn.
Oh my god.
No.
Yeah. I mean, they were even married, so I don't know, like, what the big deal was. And I was Team Edward because I had a good idea that they were gonna end up together, and I like to be, like, on the winning team. So,
Sure.
yeah, and I think, like, with all the Rob content we're getting nowadays, I'm, like, I feel vindicated. And then I convinced my mom to get the Twilight DVD, but I still, like, wasn't telling people that I was, like, kind of into this. So I hid it under my bed with our family DVD player, and then I would get the DVD player out to watch it in my room. I think the DVD's probably still under there, to be honest. And, yeah, there are obviously, like, a lot of iconic scenes in that movie, but I would say the one that had the biggest impact on me, besides the baseball scene, like, the reason why I became, like, a femme lesbian, like, the only reason, was Rosalie breaking the salad bowl when she found out Belle had just eaten. Because, like,
It was a cultural reset,
something in me
to be fair.
shifted. Just, like, I love it. And then I kind of went off of it for a while after that, and I regret to say, like, the only Twilight movie I saw in theaters was Breaking Dawn Part 2, and I'll never forget that, because the day it came out, we had just had to put my dog down. So I was, like, feeling down, and my best friend called me and was like, hey, do you want to go see that new Twilight movie? Just kind of take your mind off stuff. And I'd read all the books, so I was like, yeah, it'll just be, like, a fun time, because I already know what happens. And then the fake-out death scene happened.
Oh,
So,
no.
kind of a traumatizing day, personally, but, like, yeah, over the...
Melissa Rosenberg said, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Abby."
Absolutely not. But yeah, like, over the years, as I kind of reckoned with why I had a complicated relationship with it initially, I mean, like, I obviously still do, because of, like, dating a baby and Native American representation and stuff, but, like, I also, I also was, like, I think, like, a lot of people, like, weirdly fond of, like, all the memes and, like, all of the kids growing up that had that shared experience and are still kind of stunned that something, like, as bizarre and Mormon and, like, purity culture adjacent but also kind of erotic was in the cultural zeitgeist as much as it was. And so, like, in a way, kind of coming to terms with the fact that it's okay to like and poke fun at Twilight, because, like, supermassive black hole is perfect, obviously. And then just coming to terms with, like, my sexuality and how I related to things that were supposedly, like, aimed at women are kind of, like, weirdly linked, like, a little bit. And then with, with seeing, like, Kristen be a gay icon now, like, happiest season, I want her to come home.
Literally, when will she come back from the war?
I don't know.
If we're cold, she's cold.
She's so cold.
She's freezing. And then with Rob, I think with, especially with, like, male celebrities, actors, I just really appreciate when they'll just go fully, like, unhinged. So that's exactly my kind of brand. And with them being in, like, these cool projects now, it's just, like, really fun to banter about them and Twilight memes. I just, like, I have this terrible compulsion, I think especially since the Newtons have started, whenever I see, like, an opening for, like, a Twilight joke, I'm just like, cultural reset. I have to say it. I'm getting But, yeah, I'm very happy to be here, and, yeah, Rosalie Wright.
Yes.
Goddamn.
Absolutely.
So I have about 16 questions.
Okay.
But for the sake of your time, the main one I want to focus on here. Did you sleep with your DVD player underneath your mattress? Like, did that give you significant back?
No, it wasn't under the mattress. It was, like, under the bed. Like, it was on the ground. So,
oh
it
my
worked
god,
out.
okay.
Like a Princess and the Pea, just a
That's exactly what I was imagining.
Underneath a stack of mattresses.
Yeah.
I was very much imagining a Great Depression kind of situation.
I don't think I've seen that DVD since, so I really do think it's under there.
Bring her home, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Seriously.
I don't know anyone that was not fundamentally changed by that salad bowl breaking.
Listen.
Her name is Bella.
Right.
That is a fantastic coming of age tale that you have shared with us, and I really appreciate that honesty and that vulnerability. And I can't as soon as you shared that movie experience, it all, like, I immediately remembered you saying that before, because I was like, oh my god, I could not possibly imagine having such a traumatic experience, losing a family member like that, and then seeing Carlisle.
Yeah, I lost my extended family after that.
Seeing my father figure just absolutely decimated. Absolutely not.
Yeah, and the scary baby. I'm also upset because I saw a GIF going around of, like, the original baby they used for that scene, and she was so cute. And then when you watch the real movie, it's just, like, demonic. So, justice for that baby.
It's so disrespectful. Where is she now? You know what I mean? That is that kid is in elementary school now.
Out of any of the fucking Twilight cast, they're like, hey, here's what I'm up to. I don't care. I want to know what fucking Esme baby is up to.
Yeah.
What's she doing? What's going on?
I know that she does not have any memory, but I just want to know.
Yeah, that would be such a good, like, party icebreaker where you're like, yeah, that was my body that, like, the horrifying CGI doll was on. Like, that's how I played for college. Hello?
Absolutely.
Yeah, flex, honestly.
That is how I would start every conversation if I could. Ugh. Speaking of horrifying, we have some very intense current events to get to. Starting with a horrifying trailer that came out, like, immediately after we recorded last week.
Literally, we finished it, and it was like, here it is. Eat shit, you guys, both of you.
Yeah. Fuck you. I hate all of you. As soon as we started recording last week, this trailer came out for The Devil All the Time. And I am so excited for this.
Dude. Hello?
Speaking, like, Abby was just saying, like, oh, I'm so excited to see Robert unhinged. This is, like, Robert unlocking his jaw and, like, going full at it.
I mean, delusions.
But, like, as a sexy pastor, you know? Like,
literally delusions.
We love to see it.
Also, I think it was on Twitter, I saw that he's basically, in the preacher scenes, he's wearing the exact same outfit as Troy Bolton in High School Musical 3 at the prom. Like, he's got the little ruffled white shirt and the blue tux.
I'm not okay.
Nothing but respect.
Okay. Honor your elders, you know what I'm saying? This cast is wild. It's a lot of British folks doing a lot of American accents. A lot of also, like, Marvel folks getting together, it's so interesting to see. But yeah, I'm very excited. There was just a smidge of Robert in this.
Yeah.
But yeah,
just
I'm
enough.
very excited.
Just enough.
Just enough, some might say. But yeah, I'm very excited to see this creepy pastor moment that he is doing. It should be very good. And also just, like, Tom Holland.
Come on. And directed by my boy, Antonio Campos. Hello? Hello?
I'm so ready. September, it feels like it's right around the corner.
Right.
I'm very excited.
Ugh.
Speaking of good movies, I know that you, Cody, have a very intense attachment to Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Oops.
Would you like... I mean, I do, but I don't have a tattoo to it, so
That's true. I do have a permanent reminder that this film existed.
Would you like to share this connection with Robert to it, please?
In just the slimmest sliver of Venn diagrams of things that pertain to me, this piece came out about Robert Pattinson auditioning for Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Which, like, hello.
Hello.
Hello? So it says
God.
he auditioned to be Lucas Lee, which is who inevitably is played by Chris Evans, which can you imagine? What?
Yeah.
I would have died.
Yeah, absolutely. There's that film is already just so awash with bisexual energy, but if that switch was made, it's over.
Exploded.
That's it. It's I can't even. The levels are off the charts. The barometer is flying off the wall.
I would have died. I can't.
Yeah.
The amount that movie fundamentally changed me sexually to have him in it I would not have survived. I don't think. Nope.
The small
could not have
kind
done.
Yeah, right. Edgar
Yeah,
Wright was like, this will be too powerful. I cannot do this.
It was only a kindness for them, instead of having Robert in it, to put instead Chris Evans.
True.
Hello?
True.
Also, Anna Kendrick would have killed Robert, I'm pretty sure.
Oh my god. Absolutely.
Just saying. Actually happy to see that we have quite a bit of Twilight news this week. That doesn't always happen. I think it was just for Abby.
Yay.
She conjured
It's
it.
just for you. Thank you for manifesting that, Abby. We have a insider piece here that is letting us know that you can now stay in the Isle Esme home. And Abby, if I'm not mistaken, you know the author of this piece?
I do.
Yes?
We are previous co-workers, so I feel like I was also
that's dope.
spiritually projecting this piece into the world. Shout
Great.
out Samantha.
Thank you, Abby, for writing this, and also thank you, Samantha, for writing this. You can rent to stay in this place from what seems like, to me, the sketchiest site, because I don't know of it.
I don't trust her.
I don't know her, so I don't trust her. For the steal of a deal for just a hair over $3,000 a night, which, if you bring it to its max capacity of 12 guests, would be just over $270 per person. The reason why I'm asking you this is, for the two of you, if you could bring anyone into this home to stay with you, who would you bring?
Wow.
Oh my god. Wow.
The ideal Isle Esme group.
Sure, yeah.
Because I know this is essentially what Stephanie Meyer is running right now. It's like you and your 10 friends can go to your fantastic bookstore, but instead of your cardboard cutouts,
Sure.
actually bring folks to that.
I mean, I know realistically it would be people I know, but I also think, like, if you got, like, Willem Dafoe and Robert, I would love to, like, recreate
my
the lighthouse,
God.
but, like, in a Brazilian villa.
Which is honestly a great interpretation of that story.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I think Willem Dafoe is clearly the
What a
answer.
What a fun time.
A fun get.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I also think, I mean, I know that we just did a bonus Jonas on this, so I'm kind of in the mood, but Search Party cast would be a great
Oh
time.
yeah, just
Yeah.
everyone. The whole gang.
That is like the first group that came to my mind of just like they're a blast. Also, if not them, I would be very interested in just bringing the cast of Succession and just having the. I think that would be fucking
Oh my god, like the
hilarious.
season 2
Absolutely.
finale, but they're not on the boat, they're on Isle Esme.
Yes. Everyone has to choose a character from Twilight and they have to reenact it like Clue.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
That would be my dream day.
Ooh, hear me out. Get Andy Samberg in the mix. Do a little Palm
Okay.
Springs
I mean, we
moment
are all in a
Isle
time
Esme.
loop, so...
It's true.
That's
we can
true.
just it's all the same.
That's true.
I do also like from this piece there are some interesting photo captions throughout here. One of which is just this, the photo of them being all happy and everything. And underneath it just says, Isle Esme isn't real.
Take it back.
It's like, don't get it twisted.
Okay, I will say, as a recent insider employee, one thing that publication does is you're not just going to put Summit Entertainment. You're going to put a caption on every single thing.
You gotta jazz it
and,
up a little
you have
bit.
to jazz it up and let your readers know that, tragically, Isle Esme apparently is not real. So, valid.
Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled.
I'm very interested in this whole space. I love the details that they have included. It makes me want to be, honestly, anywhere but here. Now. Our last piece of current events news, featuring an incredibly old photo of Robert and Kristen from this Teen Vogue piece, is confirming what I think that we all knew, which is that Stephanie's working on more books. She is not saying what they are, because of course.
It's a
because
threat.
It's Stephanie fucking Meyer. Yeah.
But they are, all she is saying is that they are just 2 additional Twilight books. This particular piece is from Lauren Rearick. I have seen about 10 of these different articles that are just sharing what Stephanie said at this Books A Million virtual event. All of which are just saying that she has got 2 different books outlined. She's written and chapter. What it is about, she's like, I don't know.
I'll never tell.
I won't tell you. I'll never share them. Here's what I think. She keeps saying, I'll never write more from Edward's perspective. Fuck all you all. I think, because I know that she said a long time ago that she was going to write another book, 10 years down the line from Nessie and Jacob. I hope that she doesn't do that, because I don't want to read it.
Yeah, and I can't do that, actually.
I'm going to get her out of there.
If she doesn't do if she's going to be a coward and she's not going to write more from Edward's perspective, because to be fair, it is kind of played out at this point, then I feel like she's going to probably do a prequel, maybe, of if that's probably the smartest business move for her, is doing some Volturi shit. But I feel like she has to know where her money is and do more of the original group. I don't know. What are your all thoughts?
I love how the quote is just, "This is it for Edward," which makes it sound like she's about to murder him. But
do it. I wish.
I just want a Rosalie book.
That's what I'm saying.
Me too.
That's all I want. Also, I mean, listen, a Charlie book would be very boring. So incredibly boring.
A sitcom. Just a sitcom script.
Right. Yeah, just, let him have a Frasier moment, Let him just be, just popping in, have his own little monologue.
I would just love a chapter.
Yeah, a sliver.
Just a little nibble.
Yeah, just give me a little...
A treat. Just as a treat.
Fine. I just want it. I know it's not realistic, but I do just want it. Because she keeps mentioning in here, I want to do mythology. And it's I don't trust her with that.
No.
I don't want her to do it.
No.
So, if she's going to keep writing, which I know that they want her to, and so I can't stop her from that, I'd rather her just stick with this, unfortunately.
Maybe a mythology very intimately.
I mean, I was honest, you guys have more content. That would be good. I mean, we need the You quarantine season from hell in between, but we'll see.
That's true. I don't know. She has enough money is the problem. She's fine. It's more so that she just wants to keep writing.
She won't let us rest, Allie. It's a personal vendetta.
At this point, she's just committed to just destroying
This
us.
is all just out of spite.
I know.
What do you think would happen if you ended up stuck at the Isle Esme that's not real with Stephanie Meyer?
No.
Just not even think about it.
We would just play chess. And I don't know how to play chess. But
Neither do
would
I.
Just play chess.
But we'll give her an honest try. A 3-person game of chess.
Well, I feel like we would have to be on the same team because we don't know how to play.
Oh, yeah, right. So it's us versus Stephanie Meyer in a chess match. Because clearly, from what I know about Stephanie Meyer, she for sure is a whiz at chess.
What I'm imagining if we were ever stuck on an island with Stephanie Meyer is it would be some sort of like Olympian competition. Like a physical best kind of situation.
You have to fight her.
Fight to the death.
You have to, yeah. It would be that. Not to say that I have any, well, I was going to say, that's just what I imagine it being.
Sure.
Because I feel like if I ever just really sat down with her and was like, why? I don't know that she'd ever give me a direct answer.
Yeah.
You know? Because she's answered it before. She'd just say it was because of a dream.
Right.
And not, a dream for money kind of thing. Hey, folks. Do you like movies?
Have you seen a movie you liked so much, or maybe even disliked so much, you were like, I would want that on a t-shirt?
We have an ad spot, and this hasn't happened in years.
In a minute. It's been a minute. But we've been waiting for the perfect brand.
Listen, we can be bought, but we do it intentionally. We found this fantastic space. They're called Super Yaki.
They're the best.
This fantastic space is all about the movies, the cinema.
I do like that too, that like, it's about movies, but like, really the core of this is like, not being afraid of your guilty pleasures.
And that's like the whole fucking show.
Which is like our fucking shit, man. Wear your pride of the bad movies you love and the good movies you love.
And the good ones.
All of
right.
them. Let the people know.
Absolutely. And I feel like if there's anything that I love, it's to buy merch.
I love participating in consumerism.
Listen, if I have to participate in capitalism, I'm at least gonna get the shit that I love.
Right, yeah.
I love a good graphic tee moment.
Yes.
Especially when I'm teaching. My students will always enjoy being like, what do you got on your shirt there? I appreciate that. One of the things that I'm looking at on Super Yaki's site right now is one of their t-shirts that says greetings from Genovia. And as someone who has frizzy curly hair.
Yes.
And has been a fan of the Princess Diaries for quite some time, I am in love with this shirt. Can I just say, I know that the bar is quite low, but I do appreciate that Super Yaki has sizes up to 3XL.
Shout out.
It is nice to know that it is not just my sizes that are on there, but sizes for folks that are smaller and larger than me. Mm-hmm. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
so,
stand.
God bless.
They also have very cute pins. One I'm particularly obsessed with is this Baby Yoda that's just got baby heart eyes, and it's so fucking cute.
I have tried not to look at their pins because that is a dangerous road for me
absolutely.
To go down.
That's financially a bad choice for us.
Also, when they get that vampire one back in stock,
oh, it's over.
Gone.
It's over.
I appreciate the store for being unapologetic with the things that folks enjoy.
And Super Yaki is also all screen printed with water-based inks and ships in like a compostable, environmentally friendly way.
And I don't know anything about what screen printing is, but I do know that compostable stuff is good.
Yeah.
So
I do like the sound of it.
The other thing that sounds really good is coupon codes.
Ooh, discounts.
So if you are interested in supporting your guilty pleasures during this time, I would highly recommend just checking it out. Just going to superyaki.com. What is that discount code, Cody?
That discount code is super friend.
Love that.
You'll get 10% off your whole purchase.
I might use that.
Yeah.
Myself.
Listen, it's for y'all, but it's also for us.
So we have 2 fantastic chapters to get to this week.
Ooh.
Arguably, some might say 2 very famous chapters to get to. And I'm incredibly excited to have them with you here, Abby, to share them with you. Initial thoughts, just how are you doing in Midnight Sun so far?
I wasn't even sure if I was going to read much of the book until I knew I was going to come on. So when I knew I was going down to the lake this weekend, I was texting my friends and they're like, oh, what are you going to do? And I was like, oh, well, I have some assigned reading. I have 6 chapters. And they're like,
I have homework,
they're like,
actually.
you are not in school. And I was like, yeah, but this is better because, first of all, I've always loved reading, but I think when I was a kid and I would get, like, assigned summer reading, I just hated being told what to read, so I'd be like, no, I don't want to read it. But this one, I was like, it was different. So, and I had not read the partial draft before. I was, like, maniacally, psychotically reading them side by side earlier to prepare. My brain is very tired, but it was fun.
I feel that.
I mean, I think it's partially because I'm so fond of Rob, so I have more sympathy towards Edward, and, like, I get, like, I have Gemini and Scorpio in my big 3 in astrology, so, like, I kind of understand, like, our brains are just like that, but...
Okay, same. So, yeah.
But it was a time. There was a lot of, what is the word she always uses?
There's literally so many.
But it was fun.
Was it effervescent for you?
Yes.
Ooh, effervescent.
I saw a snail today. Effervescent.
I will say, picking up on a lot of repeated phrases and stuff, I noticed a lot more of, like, lip twitching.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. So many lips.
So much lip-adjacent discussion and description, but, like, there's so much of, like, literally Edward at one point is like, I stopped myself from twitching my lip. And it's like, what are you, what? Who is this? What are you
Yeah. I also love how, again, visual on a podcast, but I think you retweeted, there's that meme where it's the dog is hitting the same dog in the head with a baseball bat. It's going bonk, and it says, go to horny jail. And if we're reading, like, the Mormonism into it, like, I just love how, like, he's both of them.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Yeah. That's a fun thing, too, that, like, Stephanie is trying to grapple with, like, a lot of things writing this, like, arguably you could say later, but we all kind of agreed that she wrote this exactly 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
But, like...
She wrote some of it 12 years ago and some of it 2 months ago.
Right, exactly. None in between.
Little sprinkles here and there.
But, like, you can tell that she's, like, kind of reconciling with, like, things that haven't aged well, and I'm sure we'll get into this later, but, like, obviously stuff with, like, you know, watching Bella or whatever, it's kind of, like, the way she tries to, like, wrap it up and be like, oh, but it's, like, cool. It's not, like, weird, because it's, like, it's fine, or whatever. I feel like that's also happening with just, like, the way that he's speaking and stuff. It's just, like, so, and, like, him internalizing his, like, sexy stuff and being like, no, horny jail, horny jail. No, it's so weird. It's like everyone here is confused.
Yeah,
everyone.
No one knows what's going on.
And I think that was something personally that resonated with me a lot when reading both the actual series in middle school to early high school, and then also this partial draft, was a lot of the, like, the amount of Christianity that I had been taught and held myself was like, ooh, this is what I was told, is like, I needed to be this, like, virginal bride, but then also, like, hormones are a thing. And so I think that it's definitely something that you can see her grappling with, of like, ooh, I want this character to be, like, prized for being virginal, and she should never wear makeup, and how dare she ever wear makeup. I'm gonna make my male character get, like, super pissed off about it. But then, like, also hormones are a thing. Yeah. So
my Catholic guilt was jumping out in these chapters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. The religious guilt is high here. What we have with this is there's quite a bit in these 2 chapters that are shown. Like, the chapter 5 invitations is something that was definitely included in the movie. And then we get chapter 6, which is just like, how dare they not include in the movie, because I loved that in the original book as well. There are so many I have these 2 chapters in particular highlighted quite a bit. There's so much in these ones, especially with, like, right off at the beginning of chapter 5, when Edward's like, so do I love her already? I know that I haven't really talked to her yet, but, like, do I love her though? Which I feel like is like, sir, please.
I also love how I was reading them side by side, and if I'm mistaken, when he's trying to, like, figure her out, and he's like, well, she doesn't act exactly human. And then the two new examples we get are that she covers her classmate's share of work in a group project, and also she's nice enough to pretend to know where Comic-Con is. Like, no human would ever do that. That would be ridiculous.
And she doesn't know where San Diego is.
Just in general.
Hello?
When we find out, like, at least you find out more so in the movies, in Eclipse, that they have traveled and done all of these road trips throughout the country because they get all of those t-shirts. Ma'am, you don't know where San Diego is? Hello? It's hard to believe. It felt very weird. But this is one of the things that feels odd about this one is that after over 100 years of being alive, Edward does not know what jealousy is.
No.
That repression.
This man could not identify an emotion to you at all.
No.
Definitely not.
And sir, you have a Leo. I know this now because we talked about this last week. You have a Leo moon, and you don't know what jealousy is?
Yeah.
Hard to believe. Hard to believe. What I will say that I appreciated a lot about this one, this chapter in particular, is how much Edward just imagines throwing Mike Newton across the room.
Self-care.
And just... Sometimes you really just gotta visualize and manifest what you want.
Right, yeah.
And he's like, just not injuring him fatally.
No.
But just
Just a little.
just backhanding him.
Yeah.
Just a soft backhand across the far wall.
I do love, too, that this whole chapter is, like, lined with him being like, I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be good. I'm not gonna kill her. I'm not gonna kill her. I swear to God, it's fine. But the second that Mike Newton or any dude comes in the frame, he's like, I will kill everyone. I will destroy
I also love how embarrassed he is that he's jealous of humans. He's like, this isn't even like a vampire icicle dick measuring contest. It's like a regular dick measuring contest. And that's unacceptable.
Yeah. Right.
So embarrassing that he compares Mike Newton, as he should, to just a puppy.
Yeah.
He's just a regular fucking Labrador. And yet here he is just fixating on this man. So embarrassing for him. Anyways. And then we get to the parking lot, which is... I remember this so well from Bella's point of view because it was just so hyper embarrassing and frustrating for her. And so to be able to see it from Edward's perspective and to see more so from like the lunch side and see like when Mike asks Bella on the date for the girls' choice dance and all those things. And then to be able to see Eric and Tyler do it as well. He's just such a little shit about it. It is wild.
Yeah, it reminds me of another 2009 masterpiece, which was also the only music video I bought and downloaded to my iPod Touch, and that's Taylor Swift, You Belong With Me, where it's like,
Of course.
Yes.
yeah, like Mike is like the evil brunette Taylor Swift, and Bella is the guy from the Hannah Montana movie, and Edward is the band geek.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, I'm glad you finally brought that up. I've been meaning to.
It's been on my mind.
Yeah.
The thing that it seems like Edward is trying to come to grasp with throughout a lot of this is he keeps trying to remind himself, like, Edward, you need to be chill. Bella's gonna say yes to someone. It might not be today. It might not be a year from now, but, like, she's a human. She will probably end up settling down with someone at some point. You need to just accept that. And he's like, okay, cool, I'll do that. And then a minute later, Mike is like, so, do you want to, like, go to this dance with me? And he's like, fuck this, fuck you, absolutely not. He's trying, but it's not working. But, you know what? Growth.
Gross.
That's all we can ask for. Mm-hmm. So, Mike doesn't work. Eric doesn't work. Tyler, of course, doesn't work. But not before they have that, like, the conversation, which, of course, they put into the hospital scene in the movie that ends up happening in the classroom here, which is the, like, you think I regret saving your life? Which is just, like, it's so dramatic for the two of them, but of course fits how they are. So nasty. I hate the two of them so much.
The worst. Just the worst.
They just cannot chill to save their lives. The one thing that I did want to get your opinions about, which is at the end of this chapter, when Edward goes back to watch Bella sleep, because why not? And this is when, I think, Cody, which you mentioned, when Edward starts to, like, well, I guess when Stephanie tries to, like, come to terms with some of the, like, gross stuff that Edward is doing, what your opinions were on this part of just, like, him being like, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm just like, I'm going to chill and go and leave. And then Bella says his name.
Like, fine. I guess if that's what, like, there's no real way to, like, remedy that and be like, unless you just get rid of it, which Steph isn't gonna do, you know?
Sure, yeah.
So it's like, but it's also kind of shitty, where it's, like, just this, like, weird, because, again, this whole time, like, Edward is, like, being able to listen to everyone's thoughts or whatever, and, like, has this power over people because he knows everything or whatever, and he doesn't deliberately have that with Bella. So they're, like, somewhat on an even playing field in that regard. But this is, like, just another fucking thing for him to be like, oh, I know how you feel because I can just hear your fucking dreams because you're talking in your sleep, you know? Like, that happens later on where he's, like, talking with Bella and she's like, I thought you didn't want to be friends. And he's like, well, we had this conversation, but we didn't, though, because I was just watching you sleep and listening to you talk, so I thought we were cool. It's like, no, dude, you can't do that.
Yeah.
That's not the same.
Yeah, I think it's also, like, she did try to make him appear more self-aware than he was, where he's like, oh, how am I any better than a peeping Tom? Like, I'm repulsed by myself. And I did think it was interesting how he was like, oh, well, my family have done a lot worse. Like, we've literally murdered people. And, which, like, true. I do love how Stephanie also puts document forgery and murder, like, right next to each other. He's like,
tomato,
similar
you know?
kind. But, I mean, I guess, like, in the life that he has lived so far, it's definitely not the worst. But I also don't think that, just because they are supposed to be equal love interests eventually, it's an interesting thing in terms of, like, his perspective and stuff, but yeah, I don't think it really, there's only so much you can do when you're literally, like, stalking someone.
Right.
Absolutely. I think this is definitely the part which beforehand he's like, I am so gross, I can't believe that I'm doing this is so awful. And then he's like, oh, well, you know what, actually it does make sense why I'm here, because he sees that, like, hobo spider walking by, and he's like, well, you know what, I was here to take care of the pests in her room. Like, it actually does make a lot of sense. Maybe I'll just stay, like, a couple more minutes just in case there are more spiders around.
He's like, there could be a gas leak on the street, maybe, sometime.
Right, exactly. And then when, you know, she says his name, he's like, you know what? That's what it was for. That's why I stayed around. So, you know what? It works out.
I also think there's some good foreshadowing to the iconic khaki skirt. Because he's like, yeah, well, now that she's in a threadbare shirt with holes and she has, like, sweatpants, I'm like, I can't believe I didn't think she was beautiful before. Which, like, with being inside for 5 months, I kind of understand. But, wow.
The khaki skirt, I will never get over it. So, we move on to chapter 6.
Ooh.
The infamous blood type.
Ooh.
This one is one of, like, when I think about the early chapters, and I say early, but, like, we're over 100 pages into this book now, which is, like, I would not consider early. But this is, I always, when I had read this book, always wanted to see it, how it was interpreted into the movie, and then they didn't include it, and I was like, oh, well, fine. I think that this one is definitely interesting because you get the first real lunch between the two of them when they do the theories, which is, I personally think, is very interesting, especially because it's Bella she gets angry at Edward and, like, actually speaks her mind, which I appreciate. Instead of just always being dazzled by him.
Literally.
Which can get a little bit old.
Yeah.
Of just her being like, so, in plain English, are we friends now? And him being like, I don't know.
Look, Edward, post Breaking Dawn, gets pegged. And I think you could see, like, the seeds were being planted in this scene.
It all started here.
Yeah, good for her.
You tell me more.
He's like, oh, I like...
Elaborate.
Look, I just think they have that energy. And she's like, oh, you've got a bit of a temper. Like, his repression is going away for a little bit there.
Can you imagine meeting Stephenie Meyer herself, looking her dead in the eyes, and being like, Edward gets pegged.
I don't disagree.
And I think you know that.
Does she know what pegging is?
Listen,
Absolutely.
no, but in her heart, deep down, maybe, enough to conjure the seeds.
I think she thinks pegging is like one of those pogo sticks, to be honest.
No.
So she's like, yeah, absolutely, I know what pegging is.
Yeah, he
of
loves
course,
them.
yeah.
I'm a fan of pegging.
I've pegged all the time, actually.
If someone ever said to me, you got a bit of a temper, don't you? I would break their leg.
Yeah.
It sucks so bad.
I would have thrown that empty lemonade bottle at Edward and left right there. Nope. No, thank you. But yes, this is the moment when we get the, like, what if I'm not a superhero? What if I'm the bad guy? Like, bye. Thank you. No, thank you, actually. We've been oscillating a lot with Edward of, like, is he gonna put on the angry CD today? Is he gonna put on the calming CD today? He did put on the calming CD. And he's in his car because he's skipping bio because he's, like, super cool.
Sure.
And he's in his car and he's moving his fingers in the air over imaginary piano keys because he's one of those fucking guys. And since he's skipping bio, this is the moment when he's Bella in Mike's arms, just, like, dragging her limp body across the sidewalk, which I just wanted to see. I can't believe no one let me see that.
Before we go further, I also just want to say I'm kind of upset about the CD revelation because originally we didn't know what it was.
Please.
And I saw a tweet, I think it was from Lex Croucher, just guessing that the calming CD was just Wii music, and I really connected with that. And now it's gone.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that would personally calm me.
It calms me.
Yeah, but I understand. This scene is one of my personal favorites, mainly because of the fact that when Edward, like, runs up and he says, Bella, can you hear me? And she says, no, go away.
No.
I personally resonate with that a lot. So, and I've always wanted to say that to someone, but that's okay. This scene is, other than that, personally fine. Were there notable moments for you all?
I googled a Live Science article because of this scene.
Okay, well, please go on.
So, another reason why he thinks Bella isn't quite human is because she says she can smell blood. And
Same.
I was like, yeah, I feel like people can kind of smell blood. So I googled it.
Yeah, it smells like
Yeah,
pigs.
exactly. And so this is a Live Science article called Why Humans Hate the Smell of Blood But Wolves Love It. And yes, scientists actually found that prey animals are, like, repulsed by this chemical E2D in blood, and predators are drawn towards it. And since humans apparently, like, evolved into predators from prey animals, we're naturally repulsed by E2D, and we can smell blood. And if you've been to biology class, like, 100 times and you don't know that, you're a flop.
What the fuck?
How many times
Edward?
have you been through high school, Edward?
That's
Like, come on.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
Whoa. Also, why does E2D sound so pretty.
Who is she?
Why does that sound so smooth?
Oh my god.
She's in you right now.
Anyways, that... I don't like that. I don't like to be made aware of the amount of blood in my body. That makes a lot of sense, because I remember when I read that in like 2009, and I was like, oh my god, maybe I'm not human either, because I can smell blood. But that actually makes a lot of sense. So
You were wrestling with that for a decade?
For 11 years, maybe. Fuck off.
What if I'm the monster, am I right, ladies?
What if I'm not a superhero? What if I just talk in cursive for the rest of the episode?
I love that.
I would leave.
Okay. Anyways, Edward was like, so Bella should never wear makeup. The cosmetics industry, and he just goes off about makeup for the rest of this chapter.
I put rhinestones on my
Bella...
eyelids today because I was bored. Fuck you.
Tell me that Bella does not... She could wear makeup if she wants to, but telling me that Bella does not learn how to put makeup on to impress Rosalie, Jessica, and or Lauren.
Yeah, I also hate that it's implied she has perfect skin, because you know Bella is one of those girls who is like, has perfect skin, and then when you ask them, they're like, oh, I just splash water on my face every morning. It makes me angry.
I use Lysol to clean my face. Like, shut up. Fuck off. Anyways, it's just, yeah, that annoys me. No, you don't.
Also, just the thing with, they
It's
make
just...
such a point of how pale her skin is, and he's like, oh, well, this is like the ideal skin. And I'm like, Stephanie.
How's that racism
Yeah,
going,
racism,
Mrs. Meyer? She also makes a point, Bella does, to invite Edward down to La Push, specifically to First Beach. And he's like, oh, well, no. And Bella's like, why? And he's like, I'm busy, actually. I can't. And he's like, you want to know why? I can't. Sorry, bye. And then just runs away. He disappears. He runs really fast, actually, and she doesn't make any point of it noticing. He goes on for a while talking to her. They do that like moment where they're like, oh, you know who Debussy is? And they like talk about music because they're close together. And they also do the moment where they're like, he does the thing of like, how old are you, Bella? So lots of notable moments in this chapter as he's driving her home, because Alice will take the truck back later. So lots of notable things in this moment that they will have sprinkled in later into the movies. But that is the end of this chapter.
Woo!
That next week we will be getting into chapter 7, which is Melody, and chapter 8, which is Ghost.
Yes.
We will have a special guest next week as well. Cody, who will that guest be?
It's gonna be good writer boy, Ryan Ninesling. Sweet boy.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
I am excited. We have some fantastic patrons to thank. We have some fantastic patrons to thank.
Whoa!
Fuck you.
Whoa! I thought it was cute. I'm not trying to make you change your ways.
I'm so embarrassed
No.
now.
My French heritage
Now that I know
feels
that-
seen.
Yeah, representation is important.
It matters.
You know what? It is. I'm French Canadian, actually. I can't do that since Ryan's going to be here next week. And now that I know that I was the only one who did that and I was blaming you for it, that's really awkward for me. We're going to choose one of these fantastic memes
BuzzFeed.
from BuzzFeed of the 34 Twilight jokes that are almost as enticing as Edward Cullen's topaz eyes. So I'm going to start by thanking one of our new patrons, Elizabeth James. And Elizabeth is going to be number 7, which is Bella, after Edward agrees to turn her into a vampire, and it is this photo that says, "My future looks bright. After high school, I will die."
Shout out to Jess Love.
Pew, pew, pew,
Ooh,
pew.
ooh. Who's gonna be number 3? Esme, when she heard that Edward's new human girlfriend named Bella was coming over. And it's that photo of Jane Lynch that says, "I'm going to create a meal that is so Italiano."
Shout out to Alexandra Black,
Boing, boing, boing.
who is going to be number 11. It's a text post that says, "Everyone in Forks getting an invite to the most lavish wedding they've ever been to, and it's for 2 teenagers." And it's that screenshot from Veep where she's just laughing nervously. What the fuck?
Alright, shout out to Alex Dornan.
Boing, boing, boing.
Who's gonna be number 13? And this is a text post that says, "Bella, they're not bears, they're wolves. Huge wolves. Harry Clearwater." And it's the gif from Big Brother where it's the woman who's like pretends to be shocked.
Shout out Carrie Goldberg.
Pew, pew, pew.
Who's gonna be number 12? Bella in Twilight. "I would rather die than stay away from you." Edward in New Moon. Then perish.
God damn.
Shout out to Mickey Meyer,
Boing, boing, boing.
Pew, pew, pew.
who is going to be number 14, Rosalie at her family, and it's a picture of Tan France from Queer Eye saying, 5, a tennis speaking.
God bless. Alright, shout out to Maggie Quinn,
Boing, boing, boing.
who's gonna be number 16. Which is this fucking edited photo from The Simpsons of Homer's big ass face at the, I don't know, the small boy from The Simpsons.
The small boy.
I don't know, I've never watched The Simpsons. And it just has a Homer and it says me and the small boy from The Simpsons. Those big fucking muffins in New Moon. Fuck, I would fuck up those muffins in New Moon so bad.
They look so good. Oh my god,
yeah.
what small boy.
What the fuck is his name?
There's Bart Simpson.
Oh, okay.
But I will.
Who is sorry to this
he
man?
will be recanonized as the small boy.
The small boy.
Oh
Sorry
my
to this man.
god, I'm crying. Okay, shout out Katie Weber,
Pew, pew, pew.
who's gonna be number 20, which is Bella in Breaking Dawn Part 1, and it's that gif popularly known as the confused white guy, where it's just like
That's so real.
he just like shakes his head in amusement and is like, "What?" But his eyes turn red. that's
Oh my god.
I
beautiful.
love that.
We have to use so many of these.
Shout out to Zoe Steele,
Wait, wait, wait.
who's gonna be number 28. You, Supermassive Black Hole by Muse. Me, an intellectual. The baseball scene in Twilight.
It's true.
That's real. Oh my god. Okay, shout out to Rebecca Cullen.
Wait, wait, wait.
Who's gonna be number 31. Eric Yorkie be like, "I know a place. La Push, baby. It's La Push."
Shout out Elizabeth Swan.
Pew, pew, pew.
It's gonna be number 23, which is inspired off of arguably Allie's favorite Vine.
That's true.
I don't even remember what the actual what's worth. There's
only one thing worse than a rapist.
a child. But so it's Alice and Edward getting there's only one thing worse than dying. Bella dying. And then Rosie's like, "Bella." Like, no.
Shout out to Amy Taylor. You are going to be number 33. It's that meme of an adult woman getting ready to fight a toddler. And over the adult woman, it says the Volturi. And over the child, it says Renesmee.
Absolutely. Absolutely that. Alright, shout out to Mulch Gray. Who's gonna be number 27, obviously. And it is the photo of Pam from The Office holding up a photo of Seth Clearwater, my lovely Boo Boo Stewart, and it says he's never going to do anything wrong.
It's true. It's true.
It's so true.
Shout out Taylor, Brown, Town, Lautner.
Pew, pew, pew.
Who's going to be number 22? Which is that photo of the like drink machine, soda machine, and just pushing two things at the same exact time and getting the soda. And one says Leah Clearwater would deserve better juice, and one is Rosalie Hale deserve better juice.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah, right.
Shout out to Kelly Beck.
Boing, boing, boing.
Bam, bam, bam.
She's gonna be number 34. It's that picture of the two dudes clasping hands, and one dude's bicep says "me at the beginning of the decade," the other one says "me at the end of the decade," and they're agreeing over being obsessed with Twilight.
Yup. Alright, shout out to Aaron Salinger.
Yes.
Who's gonna be number 21.
Fuck yeah.
It's fucking, the text underneath this says, Miss Irina, 2 seconds after hearing Renesmee's heartbeat, and it's Irina at the fight in Breaking Down Part 2, and they have edited a fucking clown wig and a clown nose over her face.
Shout out to Sophia Salinger.
Pew, pew, pew.
Who's gonna be number 10? Bella Swan on her honeymoon. And it's a screen grab from RuPaul's Drag Race that says, I like long walks on the beach, big dicks, and fried chicken.
God bless.
That's right.
God
That's
bless.
right.
Shout out to Donna Kavanaugh.
Bwah, bwah, bwah.
Who's gonna be number 15. Alice, after flying to Italy with her brother's ex-girlfriend, stealing a Porsche, speeding through the Italian countryside, and knocking on the Volturi's door. And it's a picture of Mindy Kaling from The Office saying, "This day is bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S."
Yes. God bless.
Yes.
God bless. I love this job. I love this work. Abby, rumor has it that you have a fan fiction for us
Your
today.
rumor is true.
Great. I love predicting the
A
future.
prophet.
Yeah, Alice could never. So I really hope you guys haven't done this one before, because I'm kind of proud of it. I didn't want to do, like, one that you might have done, or was too generic, so I searched Twilight times historical fiction on fanfiction.net, and I found this one-shot that explores the famous, iconic relationship between two vampires named Edward Cullen and Walt Disney.
Hello?
Have you done that one before? Okay,
No,
good.
absolutely not.
It's called Death.
If we had, I have repressed it.
It's called Death at Disneyland by L.J. Summers, and it was published on March 27, 2010. So basically, to give you the context, Edward and Walt started off as friends in 1917 in Chicago when they're both human. And Walt went to France in World War I, and he comes back in 1918, and he hears that Edward died in the epidemic. But then in 1950, Edward's like, I miss my dude. So he tracks him down, and then by 1966, Walt is dying of cancer, and he secretly convinces Carlisle to turn him into a vampire. And then in 1995, the Cullens are at the Disneyland 40th anniversary because these strange killings have been occurring at Disneyland. And Edward runs into Walt again, which is where our snippet starts. Are you ready?
Wow.
I don't know.
As I'll ever be, I think.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. So, Carlisle had always said that the strongest human traits a person had went with them into their new life. And for Walt Disney, this had been true as well. How can you do that? Edward whispered. He could see the thrill in Walter's mind. He could feel the triumph, the excitement the other vampire felt as he lingered near the boat ride and the small world ride. He smelled in Walter's memory the fresh scent of a little boy. Stop it. I see how could you do it? How could you? And then Walt Disney's talking in his head, because, like, he can read minds. You hear me. I hadn't remembered that detail. Ah, yes. Well, Edward, I've always known there was more, and I found it, didn't I? Do you think I did all this for them, for the children? No. An entertainer is truly seeking to feed their own ego at whatever cost. And for me, that was art, my art. I used it for my own selfish purposes. I have always been a vampire, in a way. End scene.
Oh, no.
What?
Because, the person who had written it had been doing research with their child and had found out that Walt Disney knew a guy named Edward Mason in Chicago, so, like, it just writes itself.
Oh my god. What?
That's something.
It's all connected. What the fuck?
Yeah.
That was really powerful. Thank you for
and you find
sharing
out he got to continue doing his art. He actually worked on The Little Mermaid, which is brave.
Oh my god. Good for him, honestly. Good for him.
I'm glad that he was able to do like real under the sea work to be able to get that information for that.
Boo.
It wasn't a joke. It was just really how I felt. So it's fine. Abby, where can folks find you in the internet to be able to support you?
Yeah, so you can find me on social media at Abby E. Monteil, and all of my writing and nonsense is linked there. I post about Twilight too often. It's like a compulsion, so...
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You're doing the important
Thank
work,
you.
some might say.
It's true.
It has been an absolute joy to have you on. Consider yourself always welcome back.
Thank you. I will be outside both of your doors when Happiest Season comes out.
As we say here in the West Coast, where apparently Stephanie Meyer lives.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Get bit!
And get whipped.
Into the Twilight is an Earbud Media production. Our theme music is by Eli Krauss, and our artwork is by Maddie Padilla. Follow the show on Twitter at Into the Twilight, and support us on Patreon at patreon.com/intothetwilight. Send us an email or a fanfiction at intothetwilightshow@gmail.com. You can find Allie at Into Wild Places and me at Cody Curl.
You've been listening to Earbud Media Production. Earbud Media, audio for everyone.